I'm gonna try that one more time since I fucked it up. My name is James Dapper, and I'm sitting here with my friend Tricky Ethan, and we are reviewing each other's songs. First and foremost, you just released a song called Stella.
I did.
I can't keep my head from falling. Wish I had my patience in my heart.
I wanted to talk to you about it. My research, informant, she just told me that Stella is your cat.
Yes, actually. So Stella is a song that I made 2020 era, and I actually released it around that time with a video, but then I took it all down because I didn't think it wasn't exactly where I wanted it to be. And then a couple years passed, and my sister just got a cat. From now, a few months back, she got a cat, and the cat's name was Stella. And I didn't really know what to do for this month, but I know I wanted to put a song out, and I still had that one on the back burner. I just had this new relationship with my sister's cat named Stella, and it was kind of like a coincidence thing. It was kind of like an omen. It reminded me that I still had this song that I was very proud of and I wanted to put out. So I just drew this new design with a little doodle of her on the cover, and then I dropped it out, and I think it's in a much better place than it was when I initially put it out.
Did you remix it?
I didn't touch the mix at all because I think it was perfect, actually. I would have maybe taken a run through the video again, but it was all recorded on my friend's old VHS camera, and we didn't have any of those files anymore.
Okay.
So I like to think that that's just a little thing that we did, and it kind of solidifies that place in time that I was at when I made it originally.
So when you wrote it pre-cat, there was no cat.
There was no cat.
Who was it about originally?
The song...
You don't have to use names.
When I wrote the song originally, the name Stella was just a name that I thought was cool. I can't remember if it was about a character from a show or something. I don't think it was, but it was a name that I thought was pretty. I thought was kind of out there. I didn't know anyone named Stella, but I wrote this song about kind of romanticizing a future or a fantasy with someone, a real person, and I basically used Stella as the placeholder for that person.
And when did you write the song just guitar, maybe keys or whatever, and then produce it, or did you do production and then write the song? The lyrics.
The process was, I was living in my parents' basement. I recorded, I think I started with, because I always start with the beat. I can never write the vocals first. I started with guitar. I had these chords that I really like, and they're just kind of chugging. And then I had these main 5 chords that I really, really liked. And then I made a little lead that na 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 that happens at the end of the bar. So I made all the guitar first, and then I programmed some shitty stock Logic drums, or maybe they might have been from my Reason plugin, but I programmed some drums because I could not record drums in a nice way on my own.
They sound
unfortunately.
Great,
Thank you. Yeah, I think I've grown to love that programmed drum machine sound.
I grew up on that sound, so that sounds like home to me. Sounds like classic music I grew up on.
Yeah, that's good. It's just that's the resource that I had. I could never mic up my shitty drum set in the garage or anything and make that actually sound good. Lord knows I tried a lot of times. I could show you a lot of those horrible original songs. I actually also want to show you the original mix of this song.
Please do.
It doesn't need to be connected to this or anything, but just for
fun. I can throw it in the recording.
I don't wanna make my bed, but I'll still do it like you always want.
Cool. Yeah. Because I have that original mix of. So what I do is I record the guitar. I would play a few bars, record a few lines, and then I just got through the song recording the vocals like that. So beat and then vocals. And then once I had that demo, I basically, while I was actually up in Milwaukee working on an EP, a completely different project, my friend Eli, who I was recording with, he's an engineer at High Five Studios up there. He works with Run Along Forever, the really cool fucking hyperpop collective up there. When I was up there recording with him in, I think 2021, he basically was like, you got any other songs? We finished mixing the EP. He's like, you want to just record some vocals on another song and I can mix it for you? And I chose Stella because that was the one that was just freshest in my head. I still had the momentum, and I was still it still sounded I had this feeling when I was younger. I'd get this feeling a lot where you listen to a new song, you hear some like fresh sound in it, and it just gives you this like euphoria. And so like you want to listen to the song on fucking repeat. Sadly, I haven't felt like that in a while, but I felt like that with the Stella song. And so I just immediately I was like, yeah, let's record Stella, because it was so fresh and I just wanted to make it as good as possible. So I gave him the beat, he mixed, mastered, engineered, all that shit, and then I recorded the vocals over fresh there. And just working on the mix with him was like awesome. It came out so well.
And you did all the instrumentation yourself, correct?
Yeah, I did all of it myself. The beat is literally, it's just guitar, my Stratocaster playing through a shitty old Fender Acoustasonic amp, which is mainly for like acoustic guitars, but I use the chorus effect on that because I think it sounds really nice with my Fender Strat. So I did that. I recorded bass, programmed the drums, and then we have a shitty Casio keyboard in our basement, which I used to record that like really synthetic like string line in the intro and the outro. And yeah, that's it. I think it's just all those sounds and then like some Logic stock drums that I just like squashed to make them sound super like distorted in there.
Speaking of that Casio string, so I know video games are really important in your music. How important or influenced by video games was Stella?
Yeah, so I don't know how much it was connected. Maybe not as much as some of my other songs, like straight to like this, like a fantasy world in my head or like an actual like video game that I've played. But I wanted the beginning to have that sort of feel of kind of like an intro into a video game with like just strings kind of building up. And so that's what I do. I basically have like a few just like chords going through, and then the layers keep building and building, and then out of nowhere it just switches into this like fast-paced like pop rock beat, which I think was like a really cool transition. I think it might be a weak point that the intro is like so soft. It might not like catch your eye or like your attention span like immediately, but that's what I enjoy about it. It's just it's slow. It's like it eases you in, and then it kind of switches it up and like subverts your expectation when like the vocals and the beat comes in. I love it. I love it so much. I love that juxtaposition of like this weird string sound with like my chorusy guitars that come in later, because those strings come back in around like the middle like bridge section as well. Yeah, it works pretty well together. And the song, so I just remembered, I do actually reference a video game in this song specifically called Kentucky Route Zero. It is a small indie game basically following a mystery on this fictional like highway in Kentucky, and that is a beautiful game. I fucking love that game actually, but I first heard about it through the person that I wrote the song about. And so she knew I was very into video games and storytelling like that, but she wasn't really into it. And so when she told me about this game, it was kind of like a thing for us that we could have together, that we could share, because it was like she heard about it from like a good friend of hers, and it could kind of be like an intersection of like our interests, and it would be like a really special thing for the two of us to share, like as an experience. We could go through the story together. And basically we only ended up sitting down and playing this game in my parents' basement one time. We played the game like one time together for a few hours, and then I think we like ended things between us at some point after that before we could get back to it. And so the line in the song it's in the second verse. I say, I still got that old game we never finished, just in case you wanted to.
Oh, man, that's so fun. I actually was wondering what that meant. And because at first, like, the whole day I was thinking that song was about a cat. So I was wondering, I was like, what did that game line? I mean, did you and your, like, I thought it was like a sick, because it wasn't really explicitly like super romantic, so it could have been like your love for a cat. And there was even a lyric in the beginning. I'm blanking on it right now.
We can go through the lyrics if you want to pick those apart.
Sure.
There are not a whole lot of lyrics in this song. It's literally just like verse 1, bridge, verse 2, and the verses are pretty short. The lyrics go, I can't keep my head from falling, wish I had more patience in my heart. All the times I've tried to be more caring, it's perceived the opposite. Swear I'm not as scary as it seems. I'm always walking on thin ice.
Stop.
Yeah.
So my caring always gets perceived the opposite. Go on that, like expound on that one.
this line was a reference to not only things I would do for this person in the relationship, but things that I would do for other people, where I would do a thing that I view as thoughtful, and it would not be, it would end up, it wouldn't be perceived the same way that I thought it would be. So, for example, I know specifically these lines in the subtext are referencing at least a little bit how I had a math teacher in high school. Uh-oh. And I sucked at math. I was fucking horrible at math. And so there was an instance where I had to ask this teacher to like make up an assignment or something. And I remember specifically being as like kind and considerate as possible with this email. And like I even like asked my parents, like, does this look okay? Like, do you think she'll respond nicely to this? Then she like got mad at me and like failed me on the project instead of letting me like make it up. I mean, like I should have done well in the first place, but also like I went out of my way to apologize and to try to see if there was anything I could do to like fix the assignment. And the teacher was just like, hell nah, you stupid bastard. And then I was in chamber choir in high school. I did the same thing. I was trying to be so kind and considerate to my teacher, my choir director, and I had to compromise because I was playing travel soccer on the best team in the state of Ohio, and so I had to miss maybe like one rehearsal a week to go to my soccer training. But in return, I was like going to be late to other trainings to make it to chamber choir, and my teacher kicked me out of chamber choir because he's like, it's either chamber choir or nothing.
He wanted you to commit.
Yeah, and I am not good at committing the way that people want me to commit, I guess.
Okay.
In some ways.
So things aren't always as they're perceived.
And then the next line, swear I'm not as scary as it seems, I'm always walking on thin ice. I am a very shy person, but I remember hearing when I was in high school that like both like upperclassmen and like people like younger than me in school would be just scared to approach me because they thought I was just like a dark, brooding kind of person. I was like hard. I've been told a lot that I'm hard to approach, but normally I am like more anxious than anyone else around me. Like it's because I'm shy. I'm not trying to like close myself off to other people. It's just like I am just kind of shy and I'm in my head a lot. So that's what that line's about.
Okay, keep
the
going.
The whole bridge in the middle is, I want something more than this, and I'm tired of taking all this shit. Yeah, I want something more than this. I'm tired. I can't have you walk away so soon. Don't know what I would do without you. It's killing me, but it's all true. That middle section is basically just denial about like ending things with this person, I guess. Basically me kind of praying for a lifestyle where things are carefree and just easier mentally, I guess. Like longing for a harmony in my lifestyle. With that section is kind of referring to like my parents. Like I take the taking shit line, like I'm done taking all this shit. That was definitely in reference to my dad. Growing up, we had a lot of conflict. And then, yeah, the final verse, the verse 2, the final words of the song are this romanticization of like longing for a life with this person that's just in harmony and carefree. It's, I don't want to make my bed, but I'll still do it like you always want. And I've still got that old game we never finished, just in case you wanted to. Maybe sometime soon I'll get my own apartment and we could share it, just us two. And then the final words are just us two.
So one thing that I'm noticing, I do this quite a bit too, when I'm writing, like I think that it's really cool how you'll have like a specific idea of like, hey, this is about a relationship that I want in the future, or you know, what have you. And then you pull from a situation that went bad, and you're pulling from your math teacher, and you're pulling from your parents, and you're pulling from different things to get a concise idea, but it's not all inspired by the same thing. I think that's beautiful. That's beautiful creativity, because it's not like sometimes situations work out to where it's just like everything was written for you. Everything is just the situation happened, and it's like,
yeah, a lot of songs are like that. I think that's not very real and like humane and genuine, because there's always outside factors and like kind of the things I'm referencing outside of just the relationship and like the ties between me and this other person specifically, they do all kind of factor in. It's not all like driven like you're saying, but like it's kind of like it's a little bit of me also being like, okay, maybe it's like maybe my commitment is why this person doesn't want to spend this like time together anymore. Like the teacher shit, maybe because I come from a dysfunctional family, this person doesn't want to like spend time with me anymore. So it's like that's where it all comes together at the very end. I wish it was just us two. I wish we could like just live together in this apartment and I wouldn't have to worry about like any of that other shit anymore. And like things would just be like just fine. Just live there with our cat, finish this, like just play video games together.
It's like the fairy tale you want, but everything else keeps getting in the way.
Yeah, that's what the song's about.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is. Well, last thing I want to talk to you about. I don't know if you did this motif on purpose, but the Casio string thing is playing a very similar melody to the melody in Love Hotel Demo.
Really?
It's very similar. It's not the exact same, but it just reminded me of it. Well, and I was like, "Does that melody mean a lot to you?"
Any of the notes I played are coincidental.
Okay.
But if you have a connection between those two songs, that instrument specifically, that's very interesting because those are like two of the only songs actually in Juniper Love Hotel or not Juniper Love Hotel, in Juniper Lightning Bug. In Juniper Lightning Bug, I used that shitty Casio keyboard a lot, but it's that same keyboard doing that riff in Stella and Love Hotel.
Wow, okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
it was just a melody, but like so like when you talked about your parents. Earlier while you were breaking down the lyrics, there's a part in Hikey Hickey where you mention at the end your parents. So I can't remember again. I'm drawing a blank.
Oh yeah.
There's something you mentioned about your parents.
Yeah. My parents. Why do my parents think so medieval?
That's what it was. My parents think something. I remember now. That's exactly what it was. Yeah. And then I swear I'm not as scary as I seem reminds me of the chorus to Love Hotel Demo. Basically, you have this anxiety within you, and it's perceived differently. Mm-hmm. It's cool, man. I like the connection throughout your songs. The first time I ever met you, you know, we talk about this all the time, but since we're on camera, first time I ever met you, I had listened to Juniper Lightning Bug. You almost had me say Juniper Love Hotel. I was listening to Juniper Lightning Bug before I met you, and it was interesting because I feel like I knew a lot about you before I even knew you, and that's because your lyrics are so autobiographical. You're like just talking about a lot of your beliefs and who you are throughout your lyrics, and I think that's very beautiful and that's very telling.
Thank you, man.
So that was Tricky Ethan talking about Stella.
And now I'm going to ask James about Pharaoh 90.
You're on my mind, I cannot focus. Try my best to get away. It's hard to run from your emotions. I know.
I think you knew I was going to ask about this one because
I really didn't know.
My questions aren't as prepared as yours.
No, you're good, man. No, you're good. Take your time.
This is still a song that I knew. I think I heard maybe like an almost final draft when you were working on it, because I know you were super excited about it when you were working on it. And the first time I heard it, just it sounded different from other shit you've worked on. The style was so just like interesting to me. And like I love every single sound that's in this. I think the structure is like perfect. And now more than ever, I feel like I align very closely with the lyrics after looking at them. And I think you kind of expressed a lot more, more clearly, like a lot of the feelings that like I've been feeling pretty recently, actually. But why is the song called Pharaoh 90?
So Pharaoh 90 comes from me and this person who used to watch Sailor Moon a lot.
I am Sailor Moon, the champion of justice.
And there's a villain in, I believe, maybe the second or third season. It was called Pharaoh 90.
Okay.
And while I was writing the song, I was rewatching Sailor Moon. And I remember I was like, this is kind of an interesting coincidence that I'm having these feelings about this person writing this song, rewatching Sailor Moon, and I just really liked. I just thought the title was really cool.
That's
like
really
Pharaoh
cool.
90, so
Yeah.
it felt very cool to me, like very refreshing.
Why did you choose that as the cover art? Can you get into that?
That's a good question.
at all?
So
Because
back
it's the same as your artist profile picture.
it is.
Yeah.
Pharaoh 90 was a song when I wrote it. I didn't think anybody was gonna like it. Like I remember showing it to my friend, and she was like, "Oh, this is okay, but like you gotta."
I don't believe that.
I swear to God,
way.
God. She was like, "You gotta work with the chorus." It would be. She's like, "You need to incorporate that in the chorus. The chorus isn't any good." So like, I didn't think anybody was gonna like this song. And then I think once when I was writing it, then I recorded it, and I started to get a lot of positive feedback on it. And I was like, this feels like a refreshing moment to me. And that the drawing of me was very, it was, when I seen myself drawn as an anime character, it like reopened my eyes to like the creativity I had as a kid. Because I was always seeing myself as an anime character. And then when I actually got to see it physically, like I always see it mentally, but when I actually got to see it, like this feels brand new. And just like the song felt brand new to me. It felt like a new thing. And it felt like I was hearing, when I first was writing, like I said, I had the thoughts of people like, whatever. And then people started kind of changing their tune once they heard it recorded. And then it kind of felt like this brand new thing for me, kind of like how you said, like it felt like a fresher song to you. So it just felt like it fit. And I want to go into more animated or drawn artworks as I release more stuff. And also what I really want to do, this is kind of connected, I want to start working on a comic animated in that style.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that actually. That's awesome. I feel the same way. I will always favor illustrated or animated art in videos as opposed to live action just featuring myself, because I feel like a lot of the songs that I write are in this like dreamy headspace.
Yeah.
They're like all the media that I consume, it's escapist media. I prefer stylist, like fantastical media that like transports me to a new place. So I try to do that with my music. Yeah, of course. Did you picture a different alternate like world or character for this song, like perspective? Have you done that with music before?
Yes.
Have you ever?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This song was very emotional. Most of the time I do that when I'm writing, because I have, like, I pull from different inspirations. But this song, kind of like how I was telling you how you pull from a lot of different things,
Yeah.
but this song was about something very specific
direct.
and very topical.
Yeah.
And it's funny you picked Pharaoh 90, because I was explaining this to a friend of mine, so it actually is a little bit easier for me to talk about it. Pharaoh, I was having some issues with my roommate, and it wasn't the same issues that I was having towards like more recently. This was in January of 23. We're 23 right now. This was in January of this
23
year.
right now.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. It was January of this year. Like, we were arguing, and all of a sudden my feelings shift towards this girl from high school that like we were like, I don't even know what to put it, but I liked her. She friend zoned me, and then she started crossing boundaries within the friend zone that like was like, you don't need to cross these boundaries. I had this like very like as soon as I got the feel, like I haven't talked to this person in years, and I was like, I pulled up my messenger and I start typing away. I'm like, just saying everything I feel, and I was like, in real time, I was like, I need to write a song about this, because I need a way to express it. And that's one of the things where I didn't realize when I was writing, I didn't know if it was going to be any good, because I was just legitimately telling the story from beginning to end of how I felt about this friendship that was crossing the boundaries of a relationship. Yeah. This was very real for me.
I see.
Okay. Sometimes I wish it was fiction.
Of course. So yeah, I remember listening to the mix of it the first time that you sent it to me, and just immediately enjoying it. Specifically, I want to talk about the second verse, because one thing that like really drew me to the song when I first heard like the full mix of it was the second verse sounded different coming from you than a lot of your other songs, and I felt like in the moment that is the same exact direction I would have taken with it.
Okay.
It sounded like just like the perfect melody in my head, the perfect notes, the perfect like flow to go to after that chorus. And it switches it up so much, because the vocal layers in the first verse and the chorus are pretty similar, with the higher like ballad type singing, a lot of like background layers and shit. And then that second verse is just kind of, it's like a release from that, and it feels a lot more just like putting your feelings out there, a lot more like, I guess, like I think I kind of view it as the beginning of the song it can be like more kind of in your head, closer to the situation. But this second verse kind of acts as like taking a step back from it and just listening to that, like that core, like that voice of reason, I guess. I wanted to compliment the second verse because I don't think we've talked about it. And then I wanted to see, did you go through a lot of different ideas for that second verse, or did it go straight to this?
I went straight to that idea.
Because I love it. I think it's like perfect.
I thank you. You know, I come from rap music, and I am singing, but it's a little bit more of a sing rap type of thing. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing that a lot in a lot of the songs that I've been writing lately. And that's kind of the style that I just chose to go into. And it felt very real because when I rap, I'm able to express myself differently. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy that you said if there was something that hits a little bit. It kind of, I guess when I sing, sometimes it's a little bit more fluffy. But I think the not deadpan vocals, but just the straight vocals give it
no background layers.
Just very straight to the point. It says everything it needs to say. I think my favorite lyric in there is I try my best to get away. It's hard to run from your emotions. Mm-hmm. And originally I wanted to say, like, I like wordplay. Like I try my best to run away. It's hard to run from your emotions, but it just didn't flow as well as Get Away. So I had to go with the flow versus the wordplay on that one. But regardless, that just like, to me, that is the essence of the song. It's like you're trying to get away from this individual, but you have emotions for them. So it's hard to juggle it. And the end of that verse is
it must be why I concede.
It must be why I concede. That's exactly.
Yeah.
You hold a special place in my heart. It must be why I concede. Like that is like, again, just that cherry.
That's one of those lines that it's been hitting me hard recently because that's very similar to how I feel about someone that I am
going through
with right now.
I feel you.
And I think that line, regardless, is very, very powerful. And the notes that you end that verse on for that line is fucking crazy.
Thank you.
It came out. It's surprising, but like bringing those harmonies back in acted as like a perfect segue to go into that chorus afterwards. But you're also hitting that, like, I don't know what fucking note it is, but that note. Can you sing that line? It must be why I concede.
Why I concede. You hold a special place in my heart. It must be why I concede. That line?
There's like, the notes that you hit in that, you don't hit those same notes because it goes to the like, the T. The low T. I can't fucking describe. I don't know fucking music theory, but the note that you hit and the writing of that line is so powerful.
Thank you.
And it acts as a great fucking transition into that chorus. Yeah, I specifically wanted to bring that line up because it's strong, not strong. It's emotionally powerful. It is. It's heavy.
I'm
it's
fine
heavy.
with the word strong. I'm fine with the word strong. I think that's love. I really appreciate that. I'm not used to people I respect showing love to my music, so I feel a little overtaken with emotion right now. But seriously, but thank you. Something that you didn't ask about, but I want to tell you with this song, which I find to be really cool, is those pre-choruses. They keep the same from the first and second verse. They keep the same melody, but they change words because they change perspective. And that's something that I've been trying to do. I talked to a friend of mine named John years ago, and I respect the shit out of this man. He's extremely talented, musical, very, very prolific, has like 30 albums or something like that. Like, he's around my age. He's very, very good. And he was talking about how he'll keep the same melody but change the words in the chorus. I was like, why? I was like, just cut.
Yeah.
Like, just to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never thought about it like that because I always think of keeping the same words and you let the verse dictate the perspective of them, which I think is a challenge in itself. But changing the words in pre-choruses and choruses has been something that I've been practicing for probably about the last year now, and I like it. Like it serves an interesting purpose, and it's very challenging to make everything flow. And I'm happy that you like that. That must be why I concede, because I think the thing of the song is like you always ruin my life. I think that's as harsh as I get. I don't like to be harsh in songs anymore. I really don't, because if you're writing about something and it's emotional to you, it means something to you. I had to be real with myself. The reason why I was having the emotions that I was having was because it was hard to pull myself away from this person. And I remember even thinking when I was shooting a text, you gotta remember this person got a lot of power over you, like emotionally, so you just gotta be careful with what you say. That's one of the reasons why ultimately I didn't send it, but just also I just didn't feel like giving that person power. The power that we hold within ourselves is to take yourself out of the situation. Once you feel like somebody has crossed the boundaries with you or like disrespected you in a certain way, the best thing you can do, especially if you know that it's just added in with this person, you gotta just pull yourself away. You know, pull yourself away from them, and just don't give them the time of day. Like, find different goals, different things that you can do and set yourself up better. And then, you know, if you guys end up reconnecting in the future or whatever, that's great. But you take your power.
And hopefully it's at a time where you both are in touch with yourselves.
But I will say this thing though: never forget what that person did to you, because I don't forget that. Like this person crossing the boundaries, it really. You're not supposed to talk about it, but it really did hurt my feelings. Like, it really did bother me. And that's why the song is so emotional. What's even funnier is it didn't even anger me as much at the time as it did in January. Like, this happened like 5 years ago. I wasn't even that mad 5 years ago. I just walked away. And all of a sudden, I just have all these emotions of anger. And I'm just like, where's this coming from? And I guess I was holding on to something, which was kind of scary. I was holding on to something that I didn't even know. And that's where that song comes from. But yeah, thank you. I'm happy you read the lyrics.
Yeah, no. Reading the lyrics is like my favorite part.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of songs. Looking back on my own lyrics as I'm listening to the song, it's really, really, I don't know, it's powerful. I really enjoyed that. So this song was written in January of this year.
Yes.
Okay. Did the writing process or maybe the release of the song help you in the recovery process from this person?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because it sounds like the lyrics take a really, really mature view on the situation, I think.
I'm happy you said mature, because like I said, I don't want to bash this person. I don't want to bash this person because I have a role to play in this part as well. Like, it wasn't like this person was just mentally manipulating me and abusing me. Like, I take part for, the things that I did that allowed myself to even accept the boundaries being crossed. Because there's a point in time where you kind of want things to be, and this person is kind of being unclear. And then maybe if I was a little bit older, or maybe if I just was at the time wanted to be more clear, like, hey, what is going on, rather than just like have everything be gray. And now I'm at a place where I need to know what's going on now, because I don't want anything going, but I wasn't that mature when I was 24. Honestly, I don't have any feelings about it anymore. Well, anytime I talk about anything, I have feelings about it. Like feelings come back when I talk about things. But the song, it was like very therapeutic. I get to listen to that song and I'm like, this is exactly everything that I felt, everything that I needed to say, everything that when this person figures out who they are, they can listen to this and be like, dang.
He's right.
Well, that too. But just like, I see where you're coming from. Also, I want to talk about this too, because we talked about like pulling different inspirations from different things. Sacrifice my relationships. When I wrote that line, I was really thinking about my roommate, because he was dating this very evil woman at the time. Very evil. He, like, because of his relationship with her, it was destroying mine and his relationship and friendship. I was really thinking about that while at the same time talking about my situation. It was kind of like borrowing. So again, that is an outside thing that I kind of pulled from that to express it more. It was happening, but just I did get to see it from a different lens when I was writing about that. So that was one thing that I did pull from.
I think that's all that I had about this song. I'm going to use the bathroom.
Okay, do your thing, man.
But we should just keep talking about random shit.
That's cool with
Just
me.
talk about music.
Go ahead, run
if
the
you're
bathroom.
I'm Sammy Backup Jr. Oh, snap.
Get out of here. There have been times when you have written for other artists. What mindset do you step into while writing for another artist?
I guess the easiest way to talk about this is, so for a few producers, I've done vocals for like a say an EDM producer will like email me and be like, you want to put some vocals on this song? Like, here's the theme for the song and all that. It's me singing, but it's essentially me just kind of acting as an accessory for this person's song. Like, that's totally fine, because I love exploring other genres and shit. I'll do that all day long. I actually love that shit. Basically, I write like I normally would, and then I kind of just subtract my weird, quirky like interests from the lyrics and just put in a line that rhymes that is maybe more broad in general. I'm working on a house song right now, Oh, I don't think I've showed it to you yet. Yeah, I'm working on a house song right now with this EDM group from LA. Who knows if it'll ever be out, because they're kind of just like collecting like demos that they're gonna approach Warner Music with.
Okay.
Ours is awesome though. It's really fucking sick.
How do they feel about it? They like it?
They love it. Yeah. I think the main guy said, or the guy that like I've been in contact with from their group, he said it was like one of their favorites that they've made, and it's really fucking sick. Awesome. I did guitar and vocals for it.
But haven't you written for other artists though?
So I've been asked to write vocals for a good friend of mine. There was a time, okay, I think we're both past that. I've been writing music since I was like 14 or 15.
Right.
So there's a certain point where he was trying to get into music a lot more, and I just had a lot more experience with songwriting and recording and shit. So we had this song idea fleshed out. He asked me if I could come up with lyrics for him. He just didn't have the motivation, or he didn't have the inspiration to continue the song off of his ideas, and I love that shit. I love songwriting.
So in that situation, what mind state do you step into?
In that situation, I gain whatever information I can from him about like the meaning of the song and like what experiences it derives from, and then I just try to put myself in his shoes. And actually, I'm close with him, so like I've heard from him like all the like relationship experiences he's gone through, hardship he's gone through, and so I think for actually like maybe a few of my songs, there have been at least lines, maybe like entire songs written putting myself in his shoes. Neon from Juniper Lightning Bug is one of those songs.
Okay.
Actually.
This is something that I think people don't understand. Like, I think when people say like all I do is write about my life, that is the most boring shit.
It fucking
It's
is,
so
dude.
boring. Because how many times can you retell the same exact story? Like, life is not that interesting. I think that is so creative to take yourself out of something and put yourself in somebody else's shoes and ask questions and do research. Like, that's where, like, to me, what I really enjoy about writing for other artists, when it's like, talk to me about how you feel about this.
I think that's so fun when someone asks me to write on their beat, to write lyrics for them. I love that.
Because you get to be, it's like you get to be a different character. It's like you're acting. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
because with my music, basically I'm kind of putting like for all my songs I invent like a character, and I'm putting myself in their shoes. And so like when a real person pulls up to me and they're like, yeah, this happened, write about it for me, that is like I love that.
One thing that always happens to me is people always tell me the most traumatic shit.
There's a lot of people who don't have places they can be open, and so they do it to anyone.
Those people are like, that's something I'm always writing about. If I can pull something from somebody, something traumatic, because the thing is, I'm gonna remember that stuff. Just taking stuff that people, so crazy stuff people tell me, and I'm putting it in songs, man.
Yeah,
It's like I don't know what else to do with this stuff. I'm a very emotional guy, so when you tell me some stuff, I feel bad for you. I'm like, God damn, this is rough.
Yeah,
I feel for you, but you know.
But why are you telling me about it? Tell a therapist about it.
Call police. You know what I'm saying? Get a restraint. Something like it's not funny, but it's like I gotta laugh because it's just like shit is heavy.
Yeah,
shit is super heavy.
No.
But, you know, I say that to say just sometimes taking on other people's problems in songs or putting on different masks and whatever, it's fun. Like, songwriting to me is so much fun in that aspect, to where, honestly, because of the way I'm able to express myself now, I don't feel like I can ever run out of things to talk about. You can talk about the same thing from 10 million perspectives. One thing that I really like is picking a very difficult perspective to talk about because it challenges you more. Anytime where I feel like how the heck, like, you have to, like, ask people, have you ever been in a situation like this, or do research and just the things that you're talking about.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say the perspective of the first person in a song is essentially what can transform any bland material into something actually beautiful and artistic. Because if their whole collection of pieces was just self-portraits, no one would care.
Right.
But if it would still be kind of boring. But if every single piece by this artist was a self-portrait done in a different style or through a different lens, it'd be a lot more interesting. I think as an artist and as a songwriter, it's your duty to make every single piece of a different person or a different place, and also through a different lens or through a slightly different lens. It should never be, you should never be satisfied making the same sort of song over and over.
I agree.
I do not enjoy that.
I feel you.
Yeah.
But again, that's just what comes from just like having that want. There's a passion that I see in you to where like the first time I met you, you were like, you hold yourself to deadlines. And I was like, I feel like I'm the only person who does that. Because a lot of my friends who don't get songs done, it's because they don't hold themselves to things. In order for you to want something, you have to make sure you're going to get it done. And there's no better way to make sure you're going to get something done to say, hey, this needs to be done by this date. No ifs, ands, or buts. And then you figure out how the hell you're going to get that done.
It's all in the how.
Exactly.
Yeah, I definitely, even if I don't meet one of those deadlines, it's like when I write a song, I'm not going to stop until it's done. The deadline thing for me is just to push music out, which I do think is very important, because when I put a song out, it's done. I'm not going to go back to it unless I do like a remix or something. But like in the past, I had put stuff out, then I'd get butthurt when people don't listen to it, people don't like it, that kind of thing, except for Juniper Lightning Bug.
That's the one right
That one will always stay based on what Neil, what a lot of close friends have told me about that. When you put a song out, even if you're not going to like it a few years later, it's like that is how you were feeling. Those were the resources you had. Those were the circumstances you were in at the time. And you got it out because you had to. For me, music is a need. It's like everything that I write, it's because I have to. I don't have in my calendar, sit down and like write 3 songs by the end of the week. I don't do that. Whenever I write and record a song, it's because I physically have to, or else I will be very depressed and I will be I'll shut myself off from the world. And it's something that I have to do because it is my outlet. I wish a lot of people, some of my friends, were a little more motivated to get shit done, but it's just not a necessity for them.
It's not a necessity, but there's an accountability that you have.
You owe it to yourself a little bit.
But not everybody feels like that, though.
Yeah.
There's so many people who don't feel like that, and they make excuses to not do something. And we can sit down and have the same conversations of why you aren't getting something done. But again, with you, it's like, deadlines aside, you make sure you get the song done. You're like, hey, I want this done by this time. And even if you don't meet the day, you're still accountable for finishing that song. And that's why you have so many songs finished, and that's why you're able to do that. I think I want to end this on something that I've learned, and I might make a separate video about this because I don't know how in depth I'm going to be able to get into it. It's about value, and it's about understanding that, like, as musicians, putting yourself in front of people, it's like, look at me, look at me, look at me. But you can't allow, and it's easier said than done, but you can't allow people to determine your value. Your value is in the music that you make. You have to like what you make. And just because people don't like it does not mean that it's not valuable to you. Only person that it makes that's important is that it's valuable to you. Don't ever let anybody's opinions like, oh, this is great, this is the best thing ever. Don't listen to it. Because if that's the case, then you have to listen to the other shit. It's always about how do you feel about it. Do you like it? Do you care about it? Then that's important. Now, you not to say that you can't take criticism and opinions from other people and reflect on them and then say, you know what? I never thought about it like that. Let me go re-listen to this and re-listen through a different lens. That's very real. And I do believe that you need to be open to being able to listen to your music through a different lens. But as far as the value in it, you can't let anybody define that value. The thing about good and bad content, this is the thing that I've been trying to figure out, is it puts the value in the people like it. And as much as, musicians, we do want people to like it, we have to understand that these platforms that we put our music on, it's really catered to what does the platform deem valuable to this. And they determine value, which is like, hey, we're going to show it to 100, 200, 500, 1,000 people. And those 1,000 people might be the 1,000 people who are like, this is terrible. This is not for me. I don't like this indie pop. What are you doing? What are you singing about love? Pharaoh, what is this? He's a cartoon character? What the fuck is this guy? What is this, lo-fi stuff? This might be the wrong 1,000 people. It might be the wrong 100,000 people. It might be the wrong million people. You can't determine value like that. It's just like you just have to find the people who are going to like it. Because I hear stuff, and I can hear that there's music like your music. My music is, there's been music like your music. You obviously have your own perspective on it. There's music like my music. People like that music. We just have to find the people who are going to like us making that specific music. That's all we have to do. Determining value is like something we should never do. We should never tie the audience to the value. Never let anybody determine what your value is. Your value is the fact that you you like it. Not that I like it, not that she likes it, not that your neighbors like it. You like it. And that's the most important thing. You can never take that away. The dedication, the hard work, any of that. You have to hold that value within yourself and don't let anybody take that away from you.
I agree. That's the hardest part. Finding the people out there who just sincerely enjoy it. I don't know. When you find that one fan who's like, dude, I listen to your other music and I'm really excited for this next drop. That's like, even the one fan is such a fulfilling payoff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just look for the people who support you and when you find them, make sure you really value them. Like value them for finding so much value in you. I think that's going to be a big word going towards the new year is just value. I've always used the word intention. That's been a big word for me is what your intention in this. But I think if you start to tie your intention just based on like, all right, I solely want to find an audience. I'm not worried about all the 1,000 people, 100,000 people are going to say this sucks. I don't care. As much as it hurts, I'm not going to say it doesn't hurt. It's going to hurt you regardless. But you can't let it really determine like, am I bad?
Yeah.
Like, am I bad? You can't really quantify it because it's subjective.
It's art.
So exactly, it's subjective. So am I bad? Who cares? I'm going to continue doing this.
I think, yeah, as a musician, I think that shouldn't even be a worry of yours. That should never cross your mind. In terms of your art,
I was gonna say we get into this thing to where like I'm very big on not saying never because I think you should always do a self-assessment. But like, am I bad to me? When I got into doing music, am I still
I agree with that.
Doing what I wanted to do? Am I still have I gotten sloppy on my like? Be honest, like this isn't as good as it. Like I was not playing like I was. I'm not doing studying like I was. I'm not writing. I'm not evolving the way that I should be evolving. Like I need to go back and tie my roots down. I need to practice more. I need to sing every day. I need to see if I can find a vocal coach. I need to do some studying on theory or whatever is going to help you get in touch with yourself. But as long as you're in touch with you and what you're doing, you're not bad. Like, this idea of good and bad content and good and bad art and good and bad creativity is just like it's one of those things to where we have to almost detach ourselves from what other people think is good and bad, and we have to make sure that we have those standards and value. A comedian that I really like, he was talking about having a person that you look to and you're like, okay, this person can do no wrong in my eyes. For me, that's Nick Drake, that's Elliott Smith when it comes to songwriting. And I look and I be like, okay, I want to aspire to be them. So as long as I'm aspiring to be that, that's what matters to me. I remember talking to this person years ago, and they were talking to me about who their favorite songwriter was. And they were just talking about how my songs, like, and I showed them who my favorite songwriters were, and I showed them a song that I really like, and they were like, this is, and I was like, this is exactly why we're missing each other. My whole thing is he sees one thing as being like, of importance, like you have to do it this way, this is the best, versus like, hey, this exists while this exists. These are not like mutually exclusive. If you like this person, that's fine, you're going to end up being more like this person, but I like these people. And if you fail to see the value in this or you respect this, you're not going to understand where I'm coming from. I'm really big on like following my influences, obviously like being rooted in them, not like just straight up stealing from them, but being rooted in my influences. And as long as I am doing something that like I deem of like, okay, I could whatever, like I could pull from this, I could pull from that, that's where I define good at. You know what I'm saying? That's where I define good. There are people who are not gonna like Frank Ocean. If you don't like Frank Ocean, you're just not gonna like what I do. I know, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, you're just not gonna like what I do. So it is what it is. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and stop. This has been a great conversation. I'll, learned a lot. I'm gonna re-listen to Stella tonight and just see it from the lens, and I hope you get a better perspective of Pharaoh 90.
Probably as soon as I get back to the train in New York, I'm gonna listen to it and read the lyrics alongside it for sure.
Sweet. And if you got any other questions, just give me a call, man. We don't gotta do it on here.
Of course, yeah.
All right, brother.